A coyote just killed and ran off with Bijou.
A lot of you will wonder how I can be as calm as I am right now when such a terrible thing just happened. It's because I'm a sociopath.
Everything bothers him.
What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. All right, so half joking on that first part, but I'm going to tell this story. Sorry it's a mess in the background. In case you can't tell by the title of this video, things haven't exactly been normal around here. And I'm going to try to get through it the best that I can and talk about it in the way that I talk about things, and maybe you guys can get a better idea of my exact connection with this little dog. That little dog right there is Lindy Pants, otherwise known as Lyndon, since we live in Austin, is named after Lyndon B. Johnson, because I got him and was thinking that I would name him Austin, and I was like, that's basic. And so then I decided on Lyndon, and Lyndon is where we stayed. Right, Lindy Pants? Right. Okay. So Bijou has been my puppy for the last 10 years. Just to give you a little bit of background, I got Bijou as a gift for a guy that I was engaged to back in 2013. Obviously that fell apart. We got her at 6 weeks old. One day we were driving home from a softball game and I was like, there's puppies for sale right there. If they're cute, we're going to buy one and that's going to be the end of it. It was Cinco de Mayo, 2013. We go across the street, we pull up. Turns out they're little Chihuahua puppies, and there was Bijou and another one. And as soon as he pulled out Bijou, she was so cute and little and brown like me, and I was just like, yeah, that's gonna be my puppy. But I had planned it because he had been saying he wanted a dog, and I had read that a lot of times people will get rid of new puppies because they have trouble housebreaking them, and that frustration will eventually lead to them getting rid of puppies. So I made a plan where I would not be working for 2 weeks. So we get this little dog. They tell us she's 6 weeks old. I didn't know that you were supposed to wait until 8 weeks. This is my first time getting a dog as an adult. So within 9 days, I had her litter box trained. Originally, I had her going potty outside, and then I litter box trained her. I decided that was the way to go because with small dogs, you can do that. And I loved her so much from the beginning. I kept her with me the whole time for that first 2 weeks. And I mean the whole time. I went anywhere, I had a little dog in my arms. And I ended up taking her when we broke up, but it was because he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to keep her. And I wasn't going to have her end up in a pound or with some random person. So I took her with me. We went to LA. I could have stayed with friends in LA, rent free or paying very little rent, but Bijou was a little puppy and she really likes securing the perimeter. That's her thing. And they had other dogs, and I needed Bijou to be able to roam however she needed to roam. So I got us a studio apartment, and that became Casa de Bijou. And I spent so much time with Bijou. When I would go on the road, a lot of times Bijou would come with me. Bijou has been all over the country. She was my baby, my spirit animal from the beginning. She will jump against my leg when I'm taking too long to go pee because she can sense it, and she gets like, when are you gonna go pee? When are you gonna go? And she'll wait, but she really does it. And I know that's why she does it, because once I go pee, she stops jumping against my leg. She lets me know when it's time to eat because she pretty much has always refused to eat until I eat. She also lets me know when it's time to go to sleep. She'll look at me like, come on, are we ever going to sleep? And I don't always sleep the way I should, but having a little dog to remind you when it's time to go to sleep really does give you some incentive. She'll yell at me when I get home too late. Never had accidents inside. Just a perfect dog all the way around. That's just to give you some background. Cut to 2 nights ago. It's Saturday night, Sunday morning. This is Labor Day weekend. I got home around 4 a.m., which was kind of me wasting time, if you ask me. I don't drink. I don't do any partying, so it wasn't that kind of night. I was just hanging out with friends. So I take Bijou to go potty outside, and I take Lindy with me. Lindy is on his leash. Bijou always walks around the house in the nude. Always naked, my little Bijou. No harness. I don't put her on a leash when we go outside, which I know is not the smartest thing to do. I especially know that now. But she's such a good baby, and she always listens to me. She doesn't run in the street. Sometimes she will run ahead of me a little bit, and I'll have to call her back, but she's always quick to come back. This is our routine. So I'm walking her around the apartment complex like we do every day. We walk through the front, then we get to the side. Lyndon goes poop. I was happy about that because he's really picking everything up well. And this is where I hate to admit that I wasn't paying attention to Bijou. Bijou was a bit ahead, so I log on to Grindr. Bad dad move. I noticed that a guy has a typo. I just remember reading that and being like, who misspells brows? I hear a yelp. All of a sudden it hits me that must be Bijou. This is all happening really fast, so this is where we'll get to the actual story. At first it sounded sort of like a cat, so I didn't think that that was Bijou that made the yelp, but I figured it was something to do with Bijou. I look up expecting Bijou to be wrestling with a cat, in which case cats are much more vicious than dogs. So I was definitely worried about it, but at the same time, I wasn't truly alarmed about it. It was just like, oh, I'm gonna have to handle this situation. And when I look up and my eyes adjust, because it's not completely dark outside, but it's dark enough, I noticed a coyote has Bijou in its mouth and is starting to run off with Bijou. I've got Lyndon with me. He's less than a year old. I take off running with Lyndon, and Lyndon's doing his best to run, and I'm doing my best to run, but I'm not faster than a coyote. Bijou isn't making a sound, just her little lifeless body being carried off by a coyote. And this is something that I should have been somewhat prepared for or had some idea could happen, because every once in a while you will see a coyote off in the distance, but it's never been when we've been walking, and I've never seen it this close to the complex. The coyote takes off running into the backyard of a person that lives across the street from my apartment building. So I just run straight into that guy's yard. I turn on my flashlight on my phone and I'm trying to find Bijou and this coyote, but the coyote just took off running and I don't know where. And this guy's yard is really huge, and I hear them start pounding on their window because they have some stranger running through their yard, which probably looks like I'm about to steal something. And I don't know where this coyote has gone. There's no way for me to even get back to where he ran because there's woods right behind that. So I don't know what is happening, and I like it all just doesn't feel real, and I don't know how to handle it. And Lyndon was trying to keep up with me, but then I had to pick him up, which I don't remember exactly at which point I picked him up, if it was after we had been running for a minute or after we got in the yard or just before we got in the yard. All I know is I ended up with Lyndon in my arms at the point where the owner of the house comes out, is yelling, get off my property. I'm like, my dog just got taken by a coyote. In my head, I'm like, that yelp must have been Bijou having her last breath. I was very sad, but at the same time, so in shock. It really felt like a bad dream because this is truly the worst thing that's ever happened in my life. But at the same time, I was very guilty because I should have been looking. I have a responsibility to take care of her. I was supposed to be a better dad than that. I was instead looking at Grindr, and I didn't know what to do at the time. I called my dad. The guy's still yelling from the yard, and I got out of his yard, but I was telling him I just want to find my dog. He didn't want to hear any of it. And at a point, I see a coyote. I don't know if it was the same coyote come running out from another part of his yard or maybe just past his yard. I'm not sure where the property line is, but I just saw a coyote come out. He gets in his truck at a point and parks his truck with the lights on high beam in front of his driveway, so I can't get back to the yard anyway. So I took Lyndon upstairs, and then I decided to go look for Bijou because even if she's already dead, I want to give her a proper burial, not just leave her body out in the wooded area or in that guy's yard. I have my flashlight on my phone, but that's all I have. I don't have another flashlight, which that's something I need to do, is get a real one. And I was calling for her because in my head, even though I saw the way it went down and I saw her little lifeless body in the coyote's mouth, it wasn't like she was squirming. That part was really, really hard for me. It's really hard for me even right now to remember because of the way that it looked. And it was just, yeah, that was bad. So I'm not sure what to do because the worst nightmare for me would be if she was out somewhere gasping for air, having her last moments, and I wasn't there to try to console her. Or, of course, I would immediately take her to an emergency hospital no matter what she seemed like. And so at that point, I really was like, okay, well, I heard the yelp, so she just died right there in that moment, and it's over, so at least she's not out there suffering. But I don't know that 100%, so it was still real heavy on my mind. So I come upstairs and I think for a second, and I'm like, I still just can't leave her out there like that. I still have to at least look for her. So this time I go outside, flashlight again, try my best calling her name, go to all of the entrances to the apartment building because there's ways that we come in through the apartment, and I'm thinking, what if she was able to limp away and she's trying to get in? So I looked at all the entrances that we go to. She wasn't anywhere. Again, went to the wooded area. And then there was a point where I was like, I'm just looking crazy now. I just need to accept she's gone. But I'm still in shock, and I still can't believe not more than 2 hours before I had the most perfect dog in the world, and now a coyote killed her, and it's my fault. So then we get to like 8 in the morning, and I'm like, I just need to go to sleep. This happened. It's terrible. I'll be thinking about it for the rest of my life, but I need to go to sleep. And that's when it really hit me. Because our regular ritual for the last 10 years is I'll get in bed, and then Bijou crawls in bed. She gives me a kiss goodnight. And then I say, do you want to get under? And I lift the blanket and she gets under. Then it really hit me. And then I started crying. I started crying a lot because I was just like, I'll never get another kiss goodnight from Bijou. I'll never have her under my blankets again. So I went to sleep knowing that I had really messed up.
Hi, this is Sarai calling from Avid, the pet microchip company. I'm calling in regards to red Chihuahua by the name of Bijou. We did receive a call that Bijou has been found. If you can please give us a call back with reference number of 534-495.
I don't know what kind of sick game this is that the microchip company is playing,